I have a confession to make, folks. Last night, I prayed that Seth Meyers would fall down some steps face first. Now, look, I'm not proud of it. I'm human. And he irritates me. It's not like I want him to die. I just want him to just bounce his head off the asphalt a few times. Just pat it. The DNC fraud lawsuit is a huge lawsuit. It's going to be, if it goes to discovery and beyond, it will be the premier lawsuit of the recent era, last 30 years. I mean, it's right up there because it will fundamentally shift the way our democratic process is done within the Democratic Party, making the Democratic Party a more democratic party. But what I find very illuminating is the Newsweek article that came out today, where the Newsweek, a mainstream media outlet, reported on the DNC fraud lawsuit, and you know what they did not do? You're not going to guess it. They did not pan it and put out disinformation and cherry pick and slander it and bash it. Nor did they go after people who talked about it. No, they did something very interesting for a mainstream media outlet. They actually reported on it. Paragraph 1. A class action lawsuit alleging the DNC worked in conjunction with Hillary Clinton's 2016 campaign to keep Bernie Sanders out of the White House has been raging in the courtrooms for months on end. And yet, most people have no idea of its existence, in large part thanks to the mainstream media's total lack of coverage. They called it out, man. It's right there in black and white. Newsweek, a mainstream media entity, says the reason why most people haven't heard about the DNC fraud lawsuit is because mainstream media won't cover it. They said they've been giving it a total lack of coverage. That's right. They go on to highlight several other points about the lawsuit. They say they mentioned Jared Beck, a Harvard law graduate, and one of several attorneys who filed the suit against the DNC and his former chairperson, Debbie Wasserman Schwartz, wants retribution for donations made by supporters of the Vermont Senators campaign, citing 6 legal claims of the DNC's deceptive conduct. They go on to say Sanders supporters have faced an uphill battle in the courts ever since August, when the DNC managed to block hearings from beginning by successfully claiming it wasn't served the lawsuit correctly. Yeah. Now, we all know Sean Lucas, who was the initial process server. He couldn't reserve the paperwork, the process, the documents, because, well, he died mysteriously in his bathroom. So, yeah, that's a thing that happened. Then, to further thwart the lawsuit, the committee then immediately requested the lawsuit be dismissed after it was refiled on September 22nd, or September 2nd. This is all according to The Observer. Since then, Schultz and the DNC attorneys have defended the organization against accusations that it failed in its duties to maintain neutrality throughout last year's Democratic primaries. Now, the most recent court hearing on the case was held on April 25th, which I reported on it. H.A. Goodman reported on it. So many of us in independent media reported on it and gave you the facts and gave you our commentary, our thoughts, beliefs about the lawsuit. Yes, this is important, they say. The DNC reportedly argued that the organization's neutrality among Democratic campaigns during the primaries was merely a political promise, and therefore it had no legal obligations to remain impartial throughout the process. So now the DNC is saying that they're a politician. It kind of makes sense that an organization that went for Citizens United now wants to make itself not only not responsible, and make itself a politician as a person instead of a body with a charter. Yeah. Now, I love this article for the most part. It did leave out very important points, like one of which I think is the real dagger, and that is that the part where the DNC lawyers state that the DNC has no duty to be impartial. In fact, they could go back like they used to do in the olden days, in smoke-filled rooms, and pick their own nominee. Because they owe you nothing. Nada. I find it very interesting that a mainstream news entity would call out mainstream news and say, hey, it hasn't been talked about because mainstream media has given it a total lack of coverage. Ladies and gentlemen, we are at the precipice of some real ish going down. I'm glad to be on the side of the people. I'm glad to be autonomous and have the ability to tell you exactly what's happening. We have the DNC fraud lawsuit. We have Seth Rich investigation blowing open the barn doors of the establishment, BS, lies, and propaganda. And we have all those people who are on the opposite side of the people. And all I want you to do is look over here and see who those people are. Know them, identify them, point them out. We must be able to know who can be trusted, who is a valued source, and who is not a valued source. Let me know what you think, but also share this video. It's time to make some noise and raise the roof, ladies and gentlemen. We have ourselves a ball game. Oh, yeah.